Are you tired of not making the sales you want to be making? Are you tired of quoting people, hanging up with you, being in the industry and not making the money that you want to be making? It's probably because you're doing these 5 common mistakes on your sales process that is absolutely destroying your ability to sell anyone anything. And if you do this, I'm gonna show you guys, if you stop making these mistakes, you are going to learn how to sell at a high level and start closing deals and making more money right now, fast, as a life insurance agent. Now you might ask, how is that possible? Well, I've done it. My first year as a life insurance agent, I sold over $500,000 of final expense life insurance over the phone. And then my team here at Legacy Family Life, where there's no lead costs or no chargebacks, I trained a team last month. We did, as you can see, $868,000 of final expense sales over the phone by doing things the right way. The problem is this: most agents that work with me come in selling the wrong way, and I have to fix them. I have to tell them, you got to change this. And if you do this, they're able to make a lot more money and sell a lot more policies. And here are the 5 things that I tell them to fix. And if you fix this and understand this, you will make more money yourself as a life insurance agent. So the first concept that I have to teach my new agents that struggle, and maybe you're struggling to make sales as an insurance agent, is you, number one, need to understand the difference between selling a man versus a woman. Okay. Now you might say, Peter, man, that's coming out hot. Well, I want you to understand the differences. The way that you sell one person, like a man, is not the same way that you sell all people. Okay. All people have different situations. The way that you would sell me is different than the way that you'd sell my dad. My dad's a really old school, old timer. Like, he's not going to take that emotional selling process. He's not going to like that. But a lot of people, they take the script, okay, and they try to turn that script into one size fits all script. That is not the case. But instead, you need to take the script and you need to adapt to your canvas, okay? You're like a painter, okay? If your canvas changes, you need to change as well. Okay, why is this so important? When you're selling to a man is not wanting to be emotionally invested. He's not the emotional type. Well, Mr. Jim Tom, how would that make you feel? Walk me through. Is this keeping you up at night? And man, is this heavy on your mind? Wow, what would that do for you? Like, those feeling questions are incredible for a woman. But when you're selling a man, if you're selling them that way, they're not going to have the number one word that you need to get from a man. You're not going to get respect from the man. And if the man cannot respect you as a guy or a girl, doesn't matter. If they don't respect you, if you're not in charge, if you're not helping them feel like they can respect you, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to buy, okay? But instead, you need to learn how to get that respect and start speaking the language of a man. And the language of a man sounds like this. Well, Mr. Jimmy, it sounds like that you have always been the provider and the protector for the family, that you want to make sure that your family is taken care of. Okay, number one is that you are seeing them as the provider and the protector. Okay, you are speaking their language. When you tell a man, wow, you have a lot of nice cars, or wow, you've built a great family, or wow, you have built a successful life, his ego and his drive as a man, he's like, man, I already like this person. So you have to speak their language. Secondly, with the man, your tonality cannot be soft and warm and understanding. No, you have to shoot men straight, especially if you're selling life insurance. You have to speak to them like you're drinking a beer with them. It's like what I tell my team. If I sat next to this guy at the bar, I'm not saying alcohol is important. Sit them at the bar, or you're sitting over a cigar, or you're sitting over a good meal. Are you going to be like someone that they can actually respect and speak to? Or are they going to be like, dude, you're annoying, I don't respect you, okay? And the way that you do that is you speak their language. Absolutely, yeah, man, I gotcha, totally understand. Like, you guys are vibing as men, you have to have that tonality. So just understand that you have to get respect from the men, and you have to change your tone. You cannot be all emotional and soft and dive deeper. You have to be like, shoot the crap, let's go for it. Yeah, you're doing that? All right, gotcha, man. No worries, we got you, me and you, we got this. And you have to have them understand that you are selling their language. When it comes to a woman, this is why for me, women are typically easier to sell because they are emotional beings. Okay? The way that you sell Mr. Betty, Miss Betty compared to Mr. Jim Tom. Mr. Jim Tom smoking a cigar on his couch. He's just sitting there, shooting a Jack Daniels. This is if you're selling final expense. You can't have that emotional approach with them. For Miss Betty, though, who's been the mother of her kids, okay? She is an emotional creature. She would love to talk about her feelings, okay? She would love to talk about what she's gone through and the struggles, okay? Men don't talk about struggles really. They protect themselves and they say, get on with it. So if you're talking about Mr. Jimmy the way that you're talking to Miss Betty about her struggles, it's not going to make sense. Cheers to that. Now, how do you do that? You have to ask deep questions, deep emotional questions here. Like the way that you sell Miss Betty is getting into her in her ultimate emotional state. This is why women will typically cry if you really get them deep, thinking about the pain that their family's going to have to go through, the depth of why they need the life insurance, how this product is going to make them feel. And you need to have that soft approach as an agent. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. And you need to have the word that will make sales. It's called empathy. And you need to hear them out. You need to be a great listener. You need to also empathize with them and understand. And then, hey, that they've gone through so much and you ask deep questions, you will sell more people. So problem number one is you cannot sell a man the same way that you sell a woman. And you cannot sell a woman the way that you sell the men. And that's exactly why. Number two, stop doing this, y'all. Is stop being their friend. Okay. So many people that come in and say, Peter, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Everyone tells me to build rapport. Okay. This is gonna raise some flags. Rapport, and then friends. Okay. When people buy life insurance, we'll talk about friends first. They don't want a friend. They don't want a pal. They don't want that. They want a professional. Someone, when you die, that their family is going to get the check. Someone who's going to find them the best product. Someone who's going to know how to underwrite effectively. Someone who knows how to handle situations, who know to solve problems. Someone who is a true professional. A professional knows how to act swiftly. A professional knows how to have control of a call. A professional knows how to source and find the best products. And a professional knows how to complete the process from start to finish without error. Okay, that is a true professional. And if you look at your process right now and you're stumbling and you're unsure about medications, or you're not there yet, or you're struggling, you are not a professional, and people will not work with you if they don't think that you are the professional. If I signed up to get a tree cut down next to my house and Jim Tom rolled up with short sleeve shirts, a bad chainsaw, and he had a beat up truck, I would be concerned that this guy can cut down my tree next to my house. But if a company came up where they're sharp, they have the great material, they have a presentable individual, they have someone who can speak well, they have technology, they have all the resources, this person is technically categorized as a professional, and I would give them more trust, meaning that I wouldn't go with person number one. I would want to work with a professional. And it's the same thing when you're selling life insurance. If you're not feeling like you're the professional, people are not going to buy from you. Now, the problem is people aren't professionals, so guess what? They end up leaning towards becoming their friend. They don't know the product well. They don't know how the process works. So instead, they try to make up and build rapport and become the friend. Okay? Rapport is a joke, okay? Okay, people don't care about rapport. People don't care about, oh, what's the weather like in Mississippi? Oh my gosh, Miss Betty, what's your daughter's name? Because there's been so many people in my sales process where I've learned about their daughter, I've learned about their dog, I've learned about their divorce that they went through, I've learned about, how they went into bankruptcy, I've learned about every single thing about their family, and I thought, this is the ticket home, Jack. I'm going to make some real money. I'm going to help them. And the minute that I give them this scary old price, guess what they do? All right, Peter, thanks. Have a great day. And they will literally just hang up on me. This has happened time and time again. So this is just proving my point. You don't want to be their friends. You don't want to be their buddy. This is not someone that you're just going to chit chat, talk about everything else. No. As the true professional, you need to build less rapport, speak to them about their problems, speak to them about their needs, and solve their problem. And say, and then at the end of the call, they say thank you. And not say, okay, let's go talk about tomorrow. We'll be friends. See you later. That's not how it works. So it's a huge mistake that a lot of agents make. They try to build rapport. They try to be friendly. And at the end of the day, people don't care about you. Solve their problem. Do it the right way. Save them some money. Provide real value. And that's what they care about. Okay. Number 3. Okay. I had many interviews this week with people that want to work with us here at Legacy Family Life for our free lead program. And I'm like, tell me about why do you have sales success in the past? What has made you a successful life insurance agent? And they tell me, well, I just do a really good job in my sales process. I educate people. I don't sell them. They tell me, I educate people. I don't sell them. And this is why people aren't making sales. I'm like, okay, how many sales? I made 5 sales in the last, 2 months. Okay. So stop educating. Okay. Start learning. Okay. Why is that important? Okay. Stop educating Miss Betty about how much it's going to be. Stop educating about the benefits. Oh, it's day one coverage. They've been in business since 1961. It's, going to have all these features. It's going to, why you need whole life, it's better than term. Why you shouldn't go to Colonial Penn, why you need to make sure your policy is over $50, why you need to make sure that it's, it has living benefits. People don't care about that. And that's what a lot of people try to sell with. It's like all about educating about the product. And what you do is you end up becoming a true salesman where all you focus about is the bag and the money, because they just feel like all you care about is pushing this product on them. And at the end of the day, people don't want to be sold that way. Instead, you need to start learning about your prospect. Okay. You need to learn about Miss Betty. Okay. Miss Betty, what do you got going on in your world? What are you struggling with? Okay. What are you going through? What type of pain? Why do you need this? Okay. And to go from selling benefits and features, the stuff that people don't care about, you need to help learn more about your prospect. And the way that you do that, you just simply got to be more curious. Stop focusing on yourself and the product, and start focusing on her and your prospect, and start asking questions. This is why your questions will get you out of everything. If you don't want someone to ever stump you, ask more questions. If someone's like, give me the quote. Well, absolutely, I'd love to give you a quote, but Mr. Jimmy, I'm seeing here that your daughter's the beneficiary. Is that right? And you can ask questions. You can shift the leverage from you being the one that has to answer all the questions, being all like spotlight, to the prospect actually answering all your questions. And the person who answers the most questions is the person that doesn't have the control of the conversation. So you need to ask more questions. Stop talking about the products, how its features is, why it's better. And I hate when people do this. Well, this is going to be better than your old policy. This is going to be the best policy that's better than any policy you ever find. This is going to be the better policy than the last one. So why won't you do this? People don't like that pushiness. You need them to understand. You need to ask questions where they realize, oh, wow, so you're telling me this is going to be $50 less? Oh, wow, you're telling me that, this one doesn't have a waiting period? Oh, wow, you're telling me that this one, if I die, is going to pay out within 48 hours? Absolutely. So you want the prospect to reveal the benefits, not you reveal them to them, okay, by asking deeper questions, okay? Now, the fourth one that you have to do, huge mistake, stop. It's going to be stop assuming, okay? Okay? Stop assuming. And the way that you fix that is you got to be more curious, okay? But here's what happens. A lot of agents, they're going through the script. You got your script and you ask a question and the prospect is going to give the answer. They tell you, well, I want to make sure that my burial expenses are taken care of. Okay, gotcha. So you just want to make sure that, your kids aren't the ones paying for your burial expenses and they're not stuck with this like big burial expense bill, right? Is that what you're worried about? And then you start getting yes or no answers. Okay. This is what you don't want in your sales process. You don't want to ask questions that give you a yes or no. So when you start assuming, you only can get answers from your prospect like yes or no. So Miss Betty, and it sounds like that if you die, you don't want your daughter to pay for your burial expenses, right? Yes. Instead, you want to stop getting yes to have them spill the beans. So you just change your questions. So Miss Betty, who would it be that would be responsible for your burial expenses? My daughter. Oh, wow, your daughter? And is your daughter in a position to pay for your burial expenses? Like, would she have the funds? No, she's not. Well, walk me through that. What would that look like? How would your daughter come up with the funds? That would be diving deeper and learning more about the prospect and her problems. But instead, a lot of people will be like, well, she probably doesn't have the money, right? Right. So she's probably gonna have to start a GoFundMe. She's gonna have to knock on doors. I mean, that's right, right? And you start getting these yes or no questions, and then you don't have any ammunition. So you need to stop assuming, pretend like you don't know anything, and get the prospect to spill the beans. Even though that you know the answer, you need to act surprised. So your tonality, it's a simple conversation. You know if they die, their family is, oh, I gotcha. Now that makes sense. Oh, I hear you. Or I'm just trying to understand. And if you have that frame where you're trying to understand, you're curious, your prospect will share that with you. But a lot of times people just start assuming because their tonality, they already know the answers, but they don't know how to use their tonality the right way, where they feel like they're asking questions that the prospect knows that you know the answer to. And they feel like they're going to be like, dude, why you ask me dumb questions? But how to avoid asking dumb questions is to have a child-like curiosity. Okay. For example, if I ask my wife, oh, what are you thinking about making for dinner today? Rather than let's say we eat, noodles every single day. Noodles. I'm like, what are we having noodles again? Yeah, we're having. What do you think just want to make sure we're on the same page. What do you think's going to be here for dinner today? She's not going to be like, dude, it's noodles. Well, yeah, we're going to have noodles. So the tone could change because you have the childlike curiosity. You have to act like you know nothing about them, that you're just trying to learn. And if you get that, you'll get so much grace from your prospect where they're going to give you the answers. Okay? So stop assuming. Last one, number 5. And we're going to take a sip of coffee. Check out my new mug, LFL mug. When it comes to objection handling, okay? Objection handling is not forcing people to buy. Objection handling is actually asking questions to reveal concerns. Okay. So this is huge. People think just because you give them a quote, they have to buy. And since they don't buy, you have to force them to buy. Well, John, you know you need this life insurance. Don't do this. John, you know you told me earlier you have to buy it. So why aren't you just moving forward? Or John, I mean, come on now. Your daughter, you're going to die. She's not going to have life insurance and she's going to be stuck with your burial expenses. I mean, you don't want to put her in that, right? So let's just go ahead and do it today. Absolute worst way to ever sell insurance. Worst way to sell anything. And that's kind of what people are taught. Instead, you want to actually lean back on the childlike curiosity that I talked about earlier. And you need to ask questions to uncover more of the reason why people are not buying life insurance. Because what happens when you start being needy and forcing people, let's go ahead and do it. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to say to hell with you. And they're just going to click on you. Dude, I told you I'm not buying. What do you mean you're not buying? And you start creating tension. And if you are not seeing, the minute that someone feels apprehensive to you, no matter how good of a deal it is, especially if you're talking to a man or a woman as well, if they don't like you because they feel like you're forcing them into something, they don't care if it's free. At this point, their ego is now invested in not making the sale. And when someone's ego is invested in not making a sale or not moving forward because they just don't like you, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to purchase. They're not going to buy. So you need to strip away all ego. Don't make them feel some type of way about you. Instead, just ask questions and be curious. Okay. So for example, I'm like, John, I totally understand that you need to think about it, but help me understand when you say you need to think about it, what is it that you do need to think about? Just so we're on the same page. Is it more like the price that you're worried about, or you're just not sure if you need it? Okay. Because what is price? When you're asking questions, what does that do? It strips away all concerns. Okay. People are not buying because they are having concerns. What are you afraid of? Walk me through. What is your biggest concerns? And all you do when it comes to objection handling is this. You ask questions. You get answers. Ask questions. You get answers. You ask questions. And you help them realize that they are in their own way most of the time. And then what you finally do is you make a suggestion. You don't force them to move forward. You just have a suggestion. John, I hear you out. You mentioned you need to think about the price. You mentioned you need this too. You mentioned that you could afford anything between $50 to $60. Can I make a suggestion to share with you what most of my seniors or most of my clients do who are just in the same boat as you, man, who want the life insurance, who are kind of scared because, they don't have much money right now? Can I just share with you what they typically do in this situation? Absolutely. Well, then what most of my clients do is we'll typically start with something small, like the $20,000 option, just for that $59 a month. And then, John, I'm going to be your guy for life. Like, I'm going to be here for you. You can, get this comfortable, make a few payments. At least you have something in place for your daughter. And then if you pass away, she's still taken care of. But down the road, you can always add more coverage down the road. Does that sound fair? So you make a suggestion and you end with, does that sound fair? Okay. You don't say, we're doing this. Put your boots up, put your shoes on. We're going forward. We're moving. Come on. You're dumb if you don't buy this. What do you mean? You got to think about it. That's aggressive. You ask questions, you get answers, you understand their concerns, you ask more questions, get answers, understand their concerns, and then you ask a suggestion. And you make a simple suggestion. Does that sound fair? And guess what? If they say no, that does not sound fair, then what does that mean? They have more, say it with me, they have more concerns. So what do? You just negotiate. Well, what other concerns do you have, John? I want to be on the same page. And you continue to strip away those concerns, make suggestions, and help them make the decision. Remember this before you go here. You are not forcing someone to buy. You are helping true salesmen, ballers of salesmen, people that can close anyone. Help people make hard decisions they've been putting off. Okay? True ballers of salesmen help people make hard decisions that they know the prospect has been putting off. Okay? Everyone knows they typically need to lose weight. Most people. If I'm 300 pounds right now, I know that I need to lose weight if I feel unhealthy, if that's a problem, if I talked about why. But the reason that I haven't been doing it is because I'm not willing to give up something. The sacrifice is not worth the reward. It's not worth the reward. So I'm going to stay in my natural state. Okay. But if I can help see the value and help realize that the sacrifices are, the salesman is like, yeah, the sacrifices are worth the reward. The sacrifices of not eating the junk food, the sacrifice of not doing this is worth the reward. And I can flip this from literally a less than to a greater than. The sacrifice is greater than, equal to. Then they're going to make the decision, say, you know what? Let's do it. I know I need it. Put me on the plan. I don't care how much it is. The sacrifices is more worth the reward. Let's do this thing. And they'll go ahead, they'll use the money, because where their money goes shows what they value. And where your money goes shows what you take priority in. So the minute that someone gives you money is the minute that you know that their priority is in buying life insurance. I love you guys. I hope this helped you close more deals, become a sales savage, and win in 2025. Let's get it.